Hello, Ryuya. Congratulations. You are first. Oh. Give them ads a few more seconds. And then we will switch back to the old face mode. They're out of sync again. Delightful. Hi. Hello. My hair's getting crazy again. And you're all looking at the ceiling again. Don't look at that ceiling. Look at me. Hi. We're back. We're cooking. We're back to normal cooking. I'm cooking normal. Raya. Oh my God. Raya. Subscribed. 11 months. That's almost a year. Thank you so much, Raya. And welcome back. I suppose it is the beginning of a new month, isn't it? I lost track because most of March was just kind of a wash. But thank you so much. I dance and make noises at you. But yeah, we're back to cooking. I didn't know what I was gonna make, but I know what I'm gonna make. We've got things. The main thing, the one main thing. I got. I am feeling better. I have added. I took my time re-adding all the sort of potentially problematic things back to my diet, and everything passed muster. So we're back to full power, I think. I got chicken, $2, and there was two of them. That one's also $2. We're not going to use all of this. We're going to vacuum pack and freeze the rest. It was such a good deal I couldn't pass it up. So we're going to use some of this today and then pack the rest. I also found a thing I have been actively looking for, which is the other half of this, which I put here. But thank you, Ryu, for asking. So topokki is actually a dish, and tteokbokki is also a dish, and they both use these. And I'm not sure what the actual name for these in Korean is, because they always just get translated as rice cake, which I think is a terrible name for them. But I found these without sauce. They're a lot cheaper when you don't buy them as like a part of a dish kit where they come with the sauce already. It's about a third the price of getting the same amount with a whole sauce and everything. So that's kind of the plan, and I'm just gonna futz around and assemble based on things we've got. Which reminds me, the peanut butter that we're going to use is in the other room here because it's the big tub. So I'll go get that while I'm thinking of it. Yeah, big peanut butter. I also have news, literally just a few minutes ago, about the small cutting board. You'll recall these two cutting boards. Let's set that stuff aside. You'll recall the two cutting boards, this guy and the small one. I was very excited when I got them. They were essentially brand new, great condition, end grain, all sorts of good stuff. And then we had the unfortunate tragedy of the small one, which you can see peeking up in my small camera here, getting set down in some water without me noticing, and it swelled quite badly and cracked. And I wasn't sure what to do with it. Well, here's what I ended up doing with it. I left it alone for a long period of time in dry winter air. And this is what we're working with now. If you look very closely, there are still little hairlines where it cracked right along the edge on those two and that one. But they have retracted to almost being flush. I can feel that there's a little bit of a bump to them, but they've almost gone back to being flush. The cracks in the middle of the board, I can still see them. It's a tiniest little hairline crack right there. And the tiniest little hairline crack on the other side I can't even see. So I can only see the one. They were mirrored. There was two coming out diagonally like that. And there's only one on that side left. And the one little joint that's split right there. On the other side, I can't see the cracks at all. Well, I can just barely see one there again. But just letting this thing thoroughly dry out for literally, oh God, when was that? 2 months? Has caused the wood to all contract back into its proper shape. And it never warped the surface. It always was nice and flat. So I think there's a teeniest little bit of a, but that might even be my countertop, which I know is not perfectly flat. I think we can reinduct this into work as long as we make sure to not do anything wet with it. So I won't be cutting up juicy fruit. I won't be cutting up anything meaty or it's going to be, we can use it again as long as we don't use it with things that produce a lot of liquid. So that's good news. That's the good news about the board. It was very sad when we lost that board. We're not going to be using the boards right away though, because of course we're starting with chicken. So we're getting out the nylon board. The old nylon board. So how is everyone? I was still a little under the weather last week, and I felt like I was quite low energy. And I think we're back to normal. I think we're back to normal. So we're gonna start by opening up the chicken. Oddly, this was not discount, use it or lose it chicken. It was heavily discounted, but it was part of, it said it was manager's special sale. Tight Bond 3. Yeah, now that it's actually like contracted back into shape, I'll look into adhesives to sort of tighten it up. It had visible cracks that you could like, when I held it up to the light, I could see a little glimmer of light through it, and that felt like it was way too big to do anything with. And then the cracking along the edge was really, really bad. But those have all sort of closed up. So now if I could get it to seal at this point, I think it'll just stay. We're going to use the little baby ones. We're going to use 3 chicken thighs, and then I'm going to vacuum pack the other chicken thighs for long-term freezing storage. But of course, we're not using wooden. The only problem is that they're thighs. I like thighs. I know you don't like thighs. It's fortunate that I like thighs because thighs are usually the cheapest piece available. unless you like go for gizzards or one of those odd parts. But even then, these packs of chicken were $1.49 a pound. I can't find gizzards or hearts at that rate. I absolutely couldn't pass these up. I also found some fish today that was marked down. Again, not discount bin, just a pretty good markdown on some salmon. So I'm also gonna probably eat one of those tomorrow. But then there was two of them, so I'm gonna pack the other one. Not that I have a shortage of salmon. We have a bunch of frozen salmon already. So if you're actually calling, Megs, 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 hi, welcome, welcome. Feels like it's been a hot minute. Oh, I don't think I had that, but maybe you did. I would say thigh is my favorite piece of chicken because of the ease of cooking. Properly cooked chicken breast is quite good, but I find it to be the most difficult bit to cook properly. You end up with dried out chicken a lot of the time. And people don't go for poaching for some reason. Poached chicken uh, looks very pale, but it has good flavor and it is really hard to dry it out. I feel like we need to make poaching acceptable. Anyways, it's the only one I need to cut up. The other ones will not be sliced before going into the vacuum packs, so we shan't need this knife or the. Knife's going in the sink. Um, Sous vide. Sous vide also works. And then you can induce flavors as well. That was foolish of me. I put the bowl on the chickeny board. Okay, well, I was gonna have the bowl be safe on the bottom, but it's super not now. I'll put it on a burner so that I can burn the goop off later. Because we're doing the washing of hands right now. We'll do vacuum sealing later. Chicken's not gonna fly apart all of a sudden if I don't get to that immediately, but I really don't want chickeny stuff hanging around here in the kitchen. So we're gonna wash up the board and the knife. Before we move on. I've talked about it before. I'm not usually a massive stickler for. I don't keep my kitchen, my home kitchen, up to commercial kitchen cleanliness quality. I keep it up to home kitchen cleanliness quality because that's good enough. Chicken is the one thing that we treat, well, poultry. It's the one thing that we treat super, super carefully because you absolutely cannot trust the cleanliness of chickens or turkeys in the United States. Especially now. Because in a move that shocked no one, Among the layoffs at the health department was the veterinary medicine has been severely cut back in the middle of a bird flu outbreak. That's certainly going to go well. Wee. Okay. So this chicken is just going to be set aside in the sink, but not washed, until I need it. The rest of this stuff should be clean now. We're going to assemble. We're going to get out the little cutting board. The little cutting board. We're going to cut some vegetables on it. I think half a broccoli. I think half a broccoli for this. So, Max, how you been? It feels like it's been a while. It's been a while for most people, but I don't know, it feels like it's been a while longer. Like we missed out on Mag's time. Oh, broccoli chunk. And of course, the age-old question, what's everyone else having for dinner? I'd love to hear about it. Is that enough broccoli for that amount of chicken? Probably, I'm going to take one more floret. And we'll save the rest. Now that I've split the stem lengthwise, though, we are going to bag that. I don't normally feel the need to bag up broccoli because it only really goes off on the cut surface, which is why I cut the little nubbin off the bottom before I started. But now the cut surface is half the broccoli because I cut it in half awkwardly. So I am going to bag it up. And also now we have to make sure to use it in a timely manner because all that exposed cut surface will start drying out and or potentially picking up mold very quickly. It's already been encountered some mold spores because there are mold spores everywhere. Broccoli. Homer, hi. What are we making today? We are making today the thing I wrote in the title. We are making peanut chicken topokki. Except that I'm not following the rules for making topokki really very closely at all. Oh, we got some little baby bok choys. Bookwoman. Hi, welcome. We're going to take the babiest of the baby bok choys out and use just those. And the bigger ones I think will keep better. Because they have more oomph to them. Topokki Topokki is a dish. And there's instructions for the topokki here. It's these guys, vegetables, fish cakes, and topokki sauce, which has instructions down here as well. Hot pepper paste, hot pepper powder, corn syrup, cooking wine, and minced garlic. And you simmer it all together and it makes like a stew. But these things, which are just called rice cakes, which is not a terribly descriptive name, are amazing. I love these things. And I managed to finally find them by themselves. That's a picture of topokki, actually, right there. But I found these things by themselves. Up to this point, I've only been able to find these as a packaged, like, meal. So they come with a sauce, and you're supposed to make them, and then they're microwavable or instant or something. These are just the things. So we can put them in whatever I want. And I want to put them in this thing that I'm making today. So, and also, if you just got here, the board in its long retirement has firmed back up and the cracks all closed. They're still there, of course. You just can't see them. And I think as long as we don't use anything juicy, they're a bit like very, very, very fat noodles. They're made of rice, and they're chewy. They're included in Korean stews. I see them included as a starchy element in Korean stew. I really like them. Yep, these have some dirt in them, which happens, but I think that means we're going to give all of these a rinse. Or at least definitely that one a rinse. The ones didn't look like they had much dirt in them. No, the ones look pretty clean. That one had a little bit of dirt in it, so we will... this one's already getting a little bit wilty, so we definitely want to use that one. Yeah, see, that one's clean on the inside. It's got a little bit of dirt on the outside, but you can just clean that off. So we'll rinse this one out. Nice and clean. And I will keep the leafy part in another bowl, since it cooks at a different rate. Gare teok, long cylindrical teok, made with non-glutinous rice. Thinly sliced. Okay. Well, these don't. This style isn't sliced. They're just used like this as sticks, which is how we're going to use them. But good research. Ah, crap. Well, I guess we're using that one and the one that fell on the floor. I'm going to rinse off real quick. So here they are. They're hard, but not like rock hard. They're very firm. It feels like a candle. It's like the texture of a candle. But when you cook them, they soften up and become chewy. You're supposed to soak them first. It says rinse, but I think you're supposed to soak them a little bit and then dump off the soaking water. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to close up the remainder. And then they need to be simmered to soften them up. Okay, I've got chicken, I've got rice cake, I've got 2 kinds of green vegetable, and the other major element is sauce, unless I want to throw in some carrot. Because I don't, we should probably throw some onion. Get some scallions, which are over here. I got an odd pick from the bargain bin. It was a bag of bell peppers and also 2 bunches of scallions. And the scallions didn't look great, but they just came with the bell peppers, so I got them anyways. So there's kind of some dried up scrappy bits on them. If we cut all that off, ooh, tempura broccoli is very good. I don't think I've made tempura here on the show. We should do that sometime in the summer when I can open windows so that the hot oil doesn't stink up the house forever. Allowing the outermost layer of my green onion to dry out is clearly a bad idea because it makes it difficult to get off. Bok choy tempura. I think the stems wouldn't be super nice. The leaves for sure. There are other leafy things that are already done as tempura. Shiso leaf tempura is a thing. So the leafy parts for sure. The stem parts, they'd be very crunchy because they wouldn't be in there long enough to soften up, I think. These little baby ones, these little itty bitty baby ones that I have here probably would work. The larger ones I think might give you a little bit of a texture problem. Wow, that one looks terrible. We're gonna use that one because it looks so terrible. Fortunately, just like the regular onion, the green onion, when it dries out, forms a papery layer that you can just, in fact, peel off. Easy as. There we go. Okay. Let's cut up our white parts. Throw them in that one. Cut up our green parts, throw them in with the leaves. Because they don't need a ton of cooking. But I like to take the edge off of them a little bit. And we'll hang on to these guys for later use. Do I want... Oop, my garlic is sprouting. Probably because it's been in there for several weeks. Well, let's take out the sprouty ones because I don't want them sprouting. Here we go. I guess we're using a little more garlic than I was originally intending because they're starting to sprout. This would be your opportunity to grow some garlic if you are so inclined when your garlic starts to sprout. Although this garlic is not putting down roots. It's just trying to find some sunlight. So it might not root. It might, actually. Those are little rootlet babies forming on the bottom. So that actually might be a viable clove to plant if you wanted garlic next year. This one has a big old rotten spot on it, so I'm just going to not use that one. That one's fine. Ooh, that one is in fact sprouting. Hadn't quite broken through the paper yet. These cloves are obviously a little bit dried out. They're very easy to get the paper off of with just my fingers because the clove has shrunk back from the paper. So there's even a little air gap in there. So that's another sign that we should definitely use that. I've also got ginger in here that I got before I left. And it's not completely gone, but it's getting real shriveled up on the bottom there. So let's see how he looks. I think we're cutting away that bottom bit. Ooh, he's not looking super hot. A little discolored in there. Let's just slice the big guy in half. He's looking okay. I think we're going to use just the top bit and throw away this shriveled up bit. It's still plenty of ginger. Ginger's a nice assertive flavor. Speaking of assertive flavors, there's going to be peanut in this. Peanut is a very assertive flavor, so we should amp up our flavors in general. These garlic sprouts are interesting. I think I'm going to cut them off and throw them in separately. They're not quite big enough to do much with, but I think they might give an interesting flavor variant. So we'll just take it off and throw it in with the leafy greens. And then that is going to get crushed into a little dish. with everyone's favorite crusher. Oh, I missed it. Right, you answered my question. Pork mushroom enchiladas. That sounds great. That sounds great. Sounds like an excellent way to repurpose some leftovers. I was at the discount bin today. There was a lady who looked at every piece of pork and then turned to me and said, disappointedly, "It's all pork." And I was like, "I like pork." I didn't get any pork because we already had chicken. I can't just buy every bit of meat. Even though sometimes I have definitely done that. Okay. Back of the knife. Don't use the blade of the knife. It'll ruin the blade of the knife. Back of the knife's enough to loosen your thing. Our garlic is crushed. Garlic masher aside. Mince up our ginger. Gonna have to remember to get more ginger. Before the tariffs kick in. Oh, God, the things. Not looking forward to not being able to get ingredients that I want to use or not get them at a reasonable price starting this week. That sounds like the worst. I bought a just-in-case bag of rice and a just-in-case bag of beans so that in the event of an actual catastrophe, I have food. This is some fibrous ginger. This top bit still has some of that bright yellow in it. So this is the end. The rest of it has gone a little bit gray. Yep. Yep, exactly that. And that's for like imported raw materials. It can be much, much higher than that if you include things that are imported and then processed here. Ginger's going in its own thing. Ginger can hold up to quite some aggressive cooking, so it's going to go in at a different time. I think it's going to go in probably right after the chicken is getting to its browned level. Okay. Garlic, ginger, green stuff, rice cakes, chicken. What else do we need? What else we need? We need some chicken broth, which I can just do with hot water here. Let the water run hot. Let the water run hot. Get out your teaspoon and add 1 teaspoon of your chicken goo to your water. I'm working my way through my existing broths, but I think whenever these things run, these various stock things, whenever this one runs out, or whenever I'm burned through, which might take a while, I think we're going to switch to powdered stock stuff in the future, because it's easier to work with than either the cubes or the pastes, in my opinion. But quick chicken broth. What else do I need? We got some spices to throw in. We've got some spice. I just washed the grinder. That's why I couldn't find it. It's also damp. That's why I couldn't. We'll just do it in the electric grinder. The electric grinder is up to the task. Okay. I'm going a full mise en place because I'm not sure what the timings are going to be like when we actually get to cooking, and I don't want to get distracted having, you know, to stop and do something. Throwing in some coriander. Throwing in 1 chili pepper. One small chili pepper with seeds. Making this thing a spicy. A spicy. 4 for 5 avocados. That's a great deal on avocados. I guess the tariffs haven't hit avocados yet. We're already including garlic and ginger. We can do a little bit of powdered of either one of them. We've got peanut, which is a strong, assertive flavor. It's also fatty. So we're going to need to include some sweetness in this. I don't have a recipe. I am just making this up. I like the idea of coriander. I feel like a little bit of black pepper is always a good bet. Glacier, you're not first. Amazing. Congratulations. No one can take that away from you at all. But it also means we don't need sesame because the peanut is going to take care of that end of things. And I've got crunchy peanut butter, so I also don't need to crush up any peanuts. Strong, assertive, fatty. No, you're a delight. A strong, assertive, a fatty delight. Just like peanut butter. I'm trying to think. Anything else? What do you guys think? Anything else go in this? The liquid parts of our sauce is going to be, or the non-dry parts of the sauce are going to be the peanut butter, some miso, some honey, Probably some soy sauce, but I don't want to add the soy sauce too early because I don't want, because the miso is also going to be salty, I don't want to go too far on the saltiness because it's hard to go back. We have definitely over-salted things in the past. I'm going to make a little dish of powders. We're going to do a little dish of powders. I think I'm just going to grind this. Coriander, pepper, dash of clove. Just like 3 cloves, which is a lot of clove. A little clove goes a long way. And likewise, a little bit of cumin, but not too much. Sure. Sure. Yeah, looks pretty good. We're going to let the dust in there settle. We'll take the button off. I'm going to let the dust settle because if I don't, and I open that up, I am going to gas myself with the red chili pepper that's in there that will definitely make my face explode. So we'll let the dust settle a little bit. While we're letting the dust settle a little bit, I'm going to put some other powders into this little dish. Garlic powder. I like doing garlic powder and fresh garlic at the same time because they behave differently in the food. They give you different flavors. Onion powder looks exactly the same. Ooh, paprika. We could do paprika. We could do... Ooh. Weird. We could do something weird that I found in the back of the drawer. I'm going to add some gochugaru. I might even add some gochujang. We might make this like a spicy. I was going to add miso, but the dust should have settled in there well enough. This is mostly coriander. That's our spices. Smells like, dang. You know what it smells like? It smells like cumin. I think I added maybe a little bit too much cumin. Should have gone lighter with the cumin. For those of you following along at home, go back to that amount of cumin that I did not measure out and measure out a little bit less than that. Spices. We also need, ooh, my honey's starting to crystallize. Honey. Soy sauce, peanut butter, and miso. And I think that's all my ingredients. I'm sure I'll think of something midway through. They're like, oh, I gotta put this in. And then we'll have to deal with that. I also need a pan to cook this in. It's too bad I have so many pans. We're going with this one. slide to the left. A little bit of oil to get us started. We don't need a lot of oil. At least I don't think we need a lot of oil. And the number one item in there is we get it hot, and then we put the chicken in first. And that should be, because we'll get fatty drippings out of the chicken that we can then use for other things. That's the plan. That's the plan. Okay. That means we're cooking. That means it's official. We're cooking. Also, I need to simmer the rice cake. Simmer the rice cake in a pot. This one. Okay. Throw them in there. Cover them in some water. And get a little bit of heat on them, but not too much because we're looking for a simmer, not a boil. And I am going to hit them with a little bit of salt since I'm not cooking them in the flavored liquid like you would with actual Korean stew. Salty and garlicky. Good thing I washed my hands, or I'd be licking raw chicken right now. Ah. Anyways, 4 avocados for $5. That's a good deal on avocados. Avocados don't really like keep in storage really well though, so stocking up on avocados. Aha, there's the sizzle. I don't know that I'd be stocking up on avocados. Anyway, these guys are getting started first. We're going to let them do their thing. Chicken tartare. If you would like to eat raw chicken, you can do so. I will not be joining you. There are places where you can get that, where it'll be served to you. And again, I will not be joining you. Honey. Honey. I am glad that we're using honey today. I like my sweeteners to have more dimension than just sugar. You may have noticed that I'll reach for molasses quite a bit. Molasses, I do like molasses. It gives you a lot of depth in addition to the sweetness in a way that other sugars don't. But boy, it's hard to argue with honey. It's got such a lovely, unique flavor that's just not quite like any other sugary thing. So our chicken is sticking a little bit, but that is fine because we are going to end up deglazing this pot. So all the bits in there will join with the rest of it. We just need to make sure that our chicken is cooked properly. I'm tempted to throw the ginger in now, and then the dry spices as well to give them a chance to toast up just a little bit. I don't want to give them a pinch of salt just now. I don't quite want to give them a pinch of salt. I think I am going to throw the ginger in, though. Even though the chicken is not done. Because ginger's a pretty tough cookie. Okay, we're getting there. So, bookworm, specifically. What's for dinner? Also glacier, specifically. What's for dinner? You know I always love to hear about what's for dinner. I think we can probably turn the heat up a little bit on this chicken. This chickeny goodness. The rice cakes are showing signs of little bubbles, which is good, Get a spatula as well. Scrape down our scraper. Flamingo! Flamingo, I didn't ask you. No, hi. Hi, Flamingo. Welcome in. Anchor chili barbecue burger. Pan-fried oven-roasted potato wedges. Wait. Anchor chili barbecue burger, period. Pan-fried, period. Oven-roasted potato wedges, period. Pan-fried what? Ancho, not anchor. Okay, that makes a big difference. Burger with pan. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so an ancho chili barbecue burger stovetop and oven roasted potato wedges. That sounds good. What's on your burger besides ancho chili? Okay, I think the chicken is far enough along that I can start adding other things and not worry about it. So we will start doing that. Like toppings and seasonings, yes. Speaking of seasoning, there goes in my dry spice mix. We're going to let that toast in our juices a little bit before we go in with liquids. Which we need to do soon, I think. Our chicken stock / broth goes in, and we start scraping the bottom. Oh, and our rice sticks are floating and simmering. The floating is a good sign, I think, because they sank initially. And I would say, much like gnocchi, floating probably is a sign that they are cooked. So I'm actually going to turn the heat off and let those guys coast. We want to make sure to get all the stuck-on bits off the bottom. Which is why we used the flat-edged spatula today. Okay. Simmering away. Burger with simple chili powder, salt, pepper, ancho barbecue sauce, mayo. I do like mayo on a burger. You only have the plasticky slices. But see, I feel like that those singles, they're not great cheese, but they're so good for burgers because they melt so well. I understand that the flavor and the plastickiness is odd, but boy, if I want to put cheese on a burger, that's the cheese I want usually. Anyways, we are going to cook down our liquid here a little bit. I'm going to add flavors to it as we go. Because this is going to end up being a sauce, not a soup. So I think we're going to go in with the peanut butter and let it kind of dissolve in. Big ol' scoop. Second baby scoop. Peanut butter will lose its integrity and melt in as it heats. Oh, it changes the smell, the profile of this immediately. Everything smells like peanuts now. We've also thickened up a lot, which I think is a good sign. We're going to go in with a dollop of honey. For sweetness. Oop, I forgot the garlic. The garlic should have gone in just ahead of the broth, because we wanted it to fry off a little bit on the bottom of the pan, and we forgot about that. I definitely forgot that. So it's going in now because there's no other time to put it in. We're just going to have it be a little bit of a weird garlicky thing. I have some starchy water back there in case I need to add a little bit of liquid to keep this going. I don't want to add the miso until a little bit later. I want to taste this to see what we're working with. I think we're going to need a little more liquid. We need more salt. Interesting. We actually need more salt. Well, soy sauce. Gives us flavor, gives us salt. Gives us a little bit more liquid to work with. I also turned the heat down. We were going a little bit too fast on the simmer. You know what? Thinking about those green things, I don't know that I want to simmer them in this necessarily. I guess I do. They have to go in now. Now's the time that they go in. What I don't want to do is boil them. So our sauce had to be low enough that we weren't going to boil them. I also don't want to overcook them, so they can't go in too early. We want things to have a tender crisp to them. Hopefully leaving the florets whole and quite large will help them resist going mushy. That's my hope. What else am I thinking about putting in this? I was thinking about putting in some miso, the leafy part of the greens. Taste our sauce. Better. I think the miso is going to give it some more depth. I feel like it needs a couple dashes of that. Improves the taste. You put it in whatever and it improves the taste. That's how it works. That's just how that stuff works. It's spicy, it's flavorful, it's creamy. It felt like it needed a little bit more salt and a little bit more savory, which is why I added the Maggi seasoning. I think it needs a little bit more heat and a dash of our starch water, which will short-term thin it out, but then should help it form a sauce that's more glossy than sticky. I think the peanut butter sauce was going a little bit toward the sticky side. We also want to get our faceplate keggers. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you subscribe? Why? What could ever have possessed you to do such a stupid thing? Subscribe to this channel? Nonsense. Nonsense. You know what you get when you subscribe to this channel? You get me, incredulous that you subscribed to this channel, and then I take 4 weeks off. Thank you so much. 3 months in a row. I could do a song and dance, or anything else? What would you like me to do? A song and dance? That was my patented Midwest white person dance. We're very good at it. This is looking pretty good. We're gonna throw in. I'm gonna throw in my leafy parts of my greens. We do want them to cook down a little bit. No chicken tartare. We do want them to cook down a little bit. And by that I mean I want the bok choy leaves to wilt fully. Everything else is fine. The bok choy leaves want to wilt because I don't want big crunchy leaves in this. Good sauce all over you when you were talking about it. What you making? Baby back ribs. Right there. In a shower. Well, that's a good reason. I have many a time had to run to wash my hands to run back to type something in someone else's channel because I was eating some horrible mess. I think I've fallen victim to the old I was hungry when I started, so I made too much food trap. Also, we definitely have to keep this moving. The cooked rice cakes want to stick wherever they're touching the bottom. They don't stick real fast, but they definitely do stick, and we don't want that to happen. So this has to keep moving pretty much constantly. Or needs to come off the heat, which I'm gonna, I think, do. Let's taste our sauce, make sure we don't want to add anything else to it. Yeah, I'll probably get 2 good meals out of this. Or I'll absolutely stuff myself today. Big old scoop of what was white miso when I bought it and has, oh no, this one actually was red miso when I bought it. I bought one of these ones where I bought white miso, and in the time it took me to get through it, it had turned to red miso by continuing to ferment. So I had half of a white miso and half of a red miso. I also want a little bit more water. Water. Oh, I wish things went a little sour, of course, with the illness. My intent had been to take photos of all the food for the entire trip. And because, well, at the start, I wasn't sure if it would hold up. I didn't know how different the food would be, but it was definitely holding up. The food was fabulous and looked good, and some of it was just stuff I'd never heard of, which is great. But unfortunately, the sickness meant that I kind of had to dial back on the food. But yeah, I was very happy sharing pictures of the trip. That channel, by the way, is open for everyone. It should be, if I set it up correctly. Let me know if I didn't set it up correctly. But the idea is that it's open for anyone to share travel photos, outdoorsy stuff, and the like. Okay. Taste our sauce, which is nice and thick. Mmm. Mmm. So I didn't add the miso until after I took it off the heat because the flavors in miso aren't really very heat stable. You'll get the savoriness, but you'll lose a lot of the complexity of the miso if you cook it out. So ideally, you add miso to a dish after you've taken it off the heat. It can still be hot, but I wouldn't cook the miso. Still feel like it needs a little something. I only spotted myself twice in the video as well. I didn't make the video. I wasn't involved in the making of it. I know exactly what this needs. Sorry, I was thinking, what does this need? I know exactly what this needs. This needs a splash of vinegar. There's no sour, and since we're not cooking it out, it is just going to be a sprinkle. It is just going to be a sprinkle. It absolutely needed some sour. That's what there was none of in here. So a little bit of rice vinegar should give us, we'll taste it, that should give us that little bit of tang that was missing. Yes, that was exactly it. Oh, that was exactly it. Makes sense too, because we had salty, sweet, fatty, savory, and the one element we were missing was the sour. And that's how you make a nice, well-balanced Asian-style sauce, is you get one of each of those flavors, those flavor elements in there, and it's really hard to go wrong. You could probably even do it with just, we should try that at some point, because it is salty, savory, sweet, sour, and fatty. What if we just took citric acid, salt, plain white sugar, MSG, and mixed it into a neutral oil? Would that make a functional sauce? It's all the elements with no flavor. Now I want to know what that would taste like. We'll call it clear sauce. Anyways, I think this is donezo. I think this is donezo. What are we at? An hour 20, which is lots of time for tasting and chatting. Let me get out a bowl or a plate bowl. It's not real soupy, but it oozes just enough that I don't want to put it on a flat plate. Red? I'm gonna go with red. I think it'll pop against the green. And a scooper. And a scooper. There's the scooper. Yeah, that looks pretty good. A little bit of chicken on top. That looks pretty good. Clean up my drip. Grab some sesame seeds. Our two-color sesame seeds. And a little bit of gochugaru because it gives us a red flake on top to go with our color theme. Oh, you guys aren't even looking at the right one. Oh, I'm such a fool. Here I was plating, being all decorative. Couldn't even see it. And one more item is being added, and that is yet another garlic. Crispy fried garlic, as I mentioned before, has become one of my favorite items of late. I will have to check out Kager's Fancy Time. Oop, my Band-Aid's coming off. We'll have to check out Kager's Fancy Times. Exciting times. Not fancy times, exciting times. There's an important difference. Anyways, that's it. That's the thing. Let's do our blue chopsticks, because they stand out against our red plate. Let's go take a picture of this beast. And then I'll be back, and we can taste it and see if this actually, like, worked. Where did I put my phone? There it is. Photo taken, returning, crossing. We're back. Take that off of the board. We don't need that board there. Well, thank you. I found a set of plates. It's the yellow one. It's red, yellow, and black in this style. I thought it was a good combo. It's 3 of each. Because I keep wanting, like, plates of slightly different colors to go with slightly different colored foods, and I was trapped in just having white and brown and that one black plate that looks like a golf ball. So they've got red and yellow and a smooth black. Anyways, let's see if I cooked these things correctly. It's such an interesting texture. I have to describe this to you. Because they're very chewy, but like bouncy chewy. They're still quite dense, but they're not like hard. Remember, I said they were this, when they're uncooked, they're like the texture of a candle. It seems like they're the hardest thing. But cooked, they become this like bouncy, chewy texture, which is, gosh, it's not quite like anything else. Trying to think if there's anything I can. It's almost like biting into a packing peanut, except it doesn't. Except it's slippery. It's not foamy. But it has that sort of amount of, I don't know if you've ever bitten into a packing peanut. It has that kind of resistance to it. I really like them. They're so unique. If you like chewy things, they're super unique. But let's have a taste with all the elements. I mean, how could they go wrong? The sauce is spicy and savory and creamy and salty, and it's that just beautiful combination flavor. The coriander actually, unsurprisingly, is jumping out quite a lot. Make my nose run. Just a little bit too. Just a little bit. Not like it's crazy spicy, but quarter cup mushroom soy, tablespoon of oyster sauce, tablespoon of sugar, tablespoon of cornstarch, a tablespoon of fish sauce, half a cup of water. Cook until thickened. I agree. Also, sounds good. Oyster sauce is a major player in making a constructed sauce, a constructed finished sauce. I got my oyster sauce one of these places. Oyster sauce lives in the fridge. Actually, I don't have much left. I've got a fresh one. Oyster sauce and fish sauce. They don't seem like they're going to be much on their own. They go into other sauces and they amp them up. Like, especially fish sauce. Try it on its own and you'll be like, why would I put this in my food? It's gross. Because it is gross on its own. You put just a little dash of it in, and it just amps up the flavors. It's like pure flavor. We did not overcook our broccoli. The broccoli is very crunchy. We have a roller coaster of textures here. We have the chewy, almost gummy chewy rice cakes. We have well-cooked chicken. We have crunchy vegetables. Yeah. The bok choy stems too. They still have their crunch. They're more of a tender crisp, whereas the broccoli actually is like crunch, but it doesn't have that raw broccoli flavor to it. We've cooked out the raw flavor, but we have retained our crunch. And then we have our dry toppings providing another different kind of crunch. So the crispy garlic is like, it's a crunch, but it's a textural difference. It's a dry crunch on top of all this. I mean, I don't know what much else there is to say. We cooked all our spices. This is a great combination. I just really wanted to show off these things because I love them so much, and I finally found them in their own like thing. Very tasty, very delicious. You could do You could do this with beef. You could do this with beef. We've played around in Indonesian cooking a bit, and they have a dish that combines peanut and beef in not a dissimilar way. So you could do this with beef. You could probably do this with chicken breast. It would be a little more delicate to cook. I think I would take the chicken breast out of the pan after I got it cooked to proper doneness, then cook the rest of the stuff and then re-added it, because otherwise I think you'd overcook it. My local Asian market has instant ones next to the other instant noodles. They come in they have them in a cup, and they also have them in like a tray where they cook very quickly, like instant noodles. This one was in the fridge section. The big one I got was in the fridge section. Oh, I believe he's talking about this kind, the kind that we're using today. These big, fat guys. Which it took me a while to find them. Only one of the markets near me has these. So, because they are specifically a Korean thing. But maybe you are talking about that. I don't know. Mm. Peanut is such a nice way to add a fattiness and a creaminess to a sauce. There's definitely some spice to this. No doubt because I crushed up a whole chili pepper and threw it in there. Or rather, ground it into a fine powder and put it in there. Now that we've got these, I want to play around with them a little bit more. They are one of the elements that goes into Korean army base stew, which is jjigae, jjigae, budae jjigae, along with hot dogs and spam and mushrooms and bok choy and regular noodles, and then these noodles, and then a half dozen other things. They're good in a hot pot. If you've ever had Korean hot pot, you're more likely than not to see these things in a Korean hot pot. They are a little bit tricky to pick up with chopsticks because they're bouncy and slightly slippery. Delicious. Well, other than me eating this thing, I don't think I have much else to talk about. And as I've mentioned, I'm not a big fan of just standing here and eating with you guys because my mouth is full and it's hard to talk. So I guess that means we're going to wrap it up. A little bit of a shorter one today. I don't mind that because we did do quite a long one last time. We shot over 3.5 hours. Warning, turn the volume down before we're watching Kager's video. Duly warned. I'm going to enjoy that. I might, in fact, go back and eat more of the main one. We will see how it lasts. I am quite hungry. I ate very little over the course of today. Not nothing. I didn't skip meals, but I had very small food. So I was coming into this rather hungry, which is why I made a big pile, but also means that I'm rather hungry. Glad we had a red plate to offset this brown a little bit. For the takeaway for cooking at home, for you guys, if you can find them, try these things, but also the basics of the sauce that we made. That sauce will go on almost anything. Almost anything. Next time you're making a sauce, throw a scoop of peanut butter in there and see what happens. As a heads up, if you've gotten a magazine with staples in the spine, this machine makes them. Okay. Okay. Well, heads up. So yeah, I'm going to wrap us up and send us off somewhere. Where would you like to go? Let's see. Let's see. Cybertraz was on a little bit earlier. If he's still on, I wouldn't mind dropping off at Cybertraz. LaFay is here. Cybertraz is here. Playing Supermarket Simulator. He's been on for 3 hours. Traz might... Oh. Kaggers is recommending Room and Board. Sure, I'll take a recommendation. I will take a recommendation. Room and board. Honey sriracha salmon cucumber avocado salad, and it looks like he's just finished. They've just finished dealing with the salmon. So sure, let's go see what's up. Let's go see what's up. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for showing up, sticking with me to the end. All those things and goods and what's nots. Thanks for the resubs from Rayuya. And if I look at my thing, the other one of you, Kagers, of course. That was just a little bit ago. How could I have already forgotten? I have no direct plans coming up at this point. I would like to do the variety of eggs. I would like to do the variety of eggs that Flamingo was asking about when we did eggs last week. Because I got one of those cartons of eggs where one of the eggs was broken, so they cut the price for the rest of the unbroken eggs. Another Lego would be nice. Budget pending. Lego, unfortunately, is quite a bit of a pricey endeavor. I would like to do more Lego. We'll see. I've also got the sriracha. I still want to do the sriracha taste test. They're kind of staring me down over there. So we'll do that soon. There's my countdown. I'm going to wave you guys out. Bye.